Warning, warning. Battle convoy now approaching Tanhony Towers. Please prepare for insertion.
Hi, welcome back to Discovering SCP. It's me, Tanhony, and this is Darnell, and we've got a guest. We've actually managed to get a third guest.
We did, and Tanhony never lets me introduce myself. But guest, yes. Guest, who are you?
Okay, then introduce yourself.
No, I want to know about the guest first.
Yeah, you can introduce yourself too.
No, let's let Darnell should introduce me.
Yeah,
give him a moment
Who are
of
you?
spotlight that you
Who are you,
robbed him
Darnell?
of.
Who are you, Darnell? Why should
It's
we care?
me, Darnell. I'm glad I've finally been given an opinion.
Go on.
For so long, I've been oppressed by this evil person named Tanhony. But thanks to me, through my great efforts that Tanhony had no hand in, I'm being extremely passive-aggressive because he's given me the spotlight. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, guest, who are you?
I am Roger, writer extraordinaire for the SCP Foundation and independent journalist in St. Augustine, Florida.
Ooh.
Woo! That's right. We've read a couple of your SCPs before, actually. You make good work, and we are excited. Tan, actually, do we have any Roger SCPs today?
We have 4 Roger SCPs for today. So we're going to...
Oh my god.
1, 2,
This is
3,
the
4.
Roger
Usually I
episode.
clap in that, but you put me on the spot, so I didn't.
Yeah.
So we broke the streak.
1, 2, 3, 4.
It's too late, but let's get into it.
Yes.
So, Roger, tell us a little about your time with the SCP Wiki. So, am I right in saying you're still the guy with the most fucking articles?
By some margin, yeah, I've got 100. You're the one in second place, so you'd be the one to know if you surpassed. I don't think there's anyone even
Tan,
close
you're in
besides
second
you.
place?
I'm in second place?
Oh yeah,
You
no
didn't
one
tell
else.
me that.
We're the only two with over 100.
Holy shit.
It's just you and me.
I'm glad that you're still number one, though, because we've been saying that, because we bring you up on the podcast for the last 31 episodes, so it'd be really awkward if we were just
Yeah, so
wrong.
everything has to stay the same forever, or else we become
Okay, 1
dated.
second. That was my cat that I was just telling you about hitting the spring on the door. Let me kick him out because he's a nasty, naughty little man. Nixon, you're not allowed to be bad.
That's
in the
exactly
house.
how I talk to Tanhony when he gives me issues.
Go on then.
Tanhony,
Right.
you're not allowed to be bad in the house.
How dare you?
It's okay, Nixon. Doesn't hurt my feelings at all when you bat on the door to be let out, even though you should just be hanging out. Okay. Okay, he's got it. We're
Alright.
good.
So, Roger, let's see. What is our first SCP today, Tanhony?
So, there's a theme to today's SCPs, and I assume from when I say the first one that Roger will instantly know what that theme is. So,
Okay, don't spoil it, though, Roger.
so
Okay,
our
I have a
first...
guess, but I'll keep it to myself until I hear.
First article is SCP-332. It's the 1976 Kirk Longwood High School Marching Band. That's a nice title.
I knew it.
By Roger.
So, back to Series 1 we go.
Yeah,
Okay.
we are in Series 3, quote unquote.
yeah. Are we really in Series 3?
That's
This
where
is
our
like the
base
fucking-
camp is.
This is the Doctor Who of fucking of a linearity. We're just like, oh, we're in Series.
Think of
Don't
it
worry about
like
it. SCP
Series
332.
3 is where our base camp is, and we're diving down.
We're backtracking in the fucking Metroidvania.
We've got new
If I had a base
items.
camp, it'd be Series 2, because
Yeah.
I definitely think that I wrote more for that than any other series probably combined.
For sure. We have to go back and get the key item in SCP-332 before we can progress.
If there was
Alright,
a key
so-
item in every SCP series, which one would it be?
Well, there's the skeleton key in
probably
Series
the
1.
thousands, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But do we have to have
Oh, yeah,
keys give you like
005.
port keys like in Harry Potter where you touch it and it's the magic boot that teleports you to
If you touch SCP-682, you go
something.
to heaven, but it'll try to kill you before you can.
SCP-682 is actually sending everybody it kills to heaven. It's just it messily destroys their corpses afterwards so that nobody knows.
Aww.
It's actually an angel
Unsung
avenging
hero.
you.
Wholesome 100. All right.
Let's
So,
get into it.
SCP-332. Let's get into this.
Okay.
All right, Tanhony, spin us off.
We've got an image here of some guys with trumpets. Those tubas, actually.
Yeah, this looks like a marching band of some kind.
Yeah, really? You think the 1976 Kirk Longwood High School Marching Band might be a marching band?
I forgot that was the name of the article, so how about you eat my nuts?
Wow. Item number, SCP-332. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. Observation Station 55-B has been constructed to monitor and study SCP-332. Fences designed to contain the SCP's stationary effect have been demolished and replaced by a research station dedicated to observing the SCP in its dormant state. When the SCP enters its active state, all site personnel to monitor the length and intensity of the sound produced by the SCP from soundproof observation areas until the active state ceases. Any affected civilians are to be detained indefinitely under the cover of an infectious disease outbreak. SCP-1833 has been placed under constant observation in case of any alterations. Who knows what that could be? Maybe we'll find out later.
So, first theory off the bat is a marching band, and when it plays music, you get sick.
I see.
That's what I got from the special containment procedures, but let's see where this goes.
I guess it would depend on what your definition of being sick is.
Ooh, I like that.
It's menacing.
Is being sick when you've got something that invades your body and starts to control how it functions, making you do things against your will?
Yeah, like
then I think you're absolutely right. I think that's exactly what SCP-332 is about.
Exactly.
All right. Spoilers. I'm kidding. Let's get on with the description then,
Yeah,
Tan.
so why don't you tell us about the description, Darnell?
Fine. All right. Description. SCP-332 is the class of 1976 Kirk Lawnwood High School marching band, located in the town of Redacted. You're the author, so our general rules when we have a guest star on and we're reading your SCPs, you have to tell us what the Redacteds are.
What is it?
What year was this posted in, real quick, so I know how old I was when I wrote it, because it was a long time ago.
This was posted in
2012.
Let me check the history. 2012.
I was 17, so probably just didn't want to lock myself into one specific location, so I made it redacted so that it could be any place.
I see.
Right. But we're going to demand that you decide a city right here and now. Because we're me.
If you don't, I'll decide for you.
2 Egg, Florida.
I see.
2 Egg, Florida. The band is composed of 30 humanoids, known as SCP-332-1 through -30. All 30... Thank you for not listing them all. I feel like most Series 1 SCPs would have done that, and I would have gone insane. All 30 instances of SCP-332 wear 1976 band uniforms and play instruments manufactured before 1976. The words Syncope Symphony have been engraved into each instrument. Individuals within SCP-332 do not display normal human behavior and will stand at attention in the center of the former Kirk Lawnwood High School football field. Occasionally, individual instances of SCP-332 have been known to suddenly begin struggling with an unseen force before returning to their normal stance. The reason for this behavior is unknown. No instance of SCP-332 has ever attempted to communicate with Foundation personnel. Instances of SCP-332 do not appear to feel hunger, pain, or suffer from exposure to the elements, and were observed to stand in the same location for over 30 years. Once every 48 hours, SCP-332 will enter an active state. While active, they will burn calories and lose weight. They will perform a marching routine. Music played by 332 varies, but it primarily consists of marching arrangements popular between 1967 to 1976. Sounds produced by SCP-332 have a consistent volume throughout the active zone, with the sound fading abruptly outside of that zone. If a subject is able to hear the music played by 332, they will attempt to obtain any instrument near them and join 332 in playing. Subjects affected in this manner, hereafter known as 332-B, will report high amounts of anxiety if unable to obtain a musical instrument within 10 minutes of coming under 332's effect. So here's my question. What happens if they don't know how to play an instrument, even if there is one nearby? Is it like they're anomalously able to play it all of a sudden?
They don't have to play it well.
Okay, they just have to play it.
I need the triangle.
It makes no judgment of their actual musical ability. You can play an instrument, you don't know how to play it. You just would sound horrible because you'd have absolutely no idea.
Are there limits on what counts as an instrument? For example, could you blue man it and flip over a trash can and use it as a drum?
Can you come in and start beatboxing?
Totally. Absolutely.
Yeah. Can I start beating Tanhony over the head?
It would just have to be recognizable as an instrument. I think there would come a point where just banging 2 pieces of metal together wouldn't cut it. But
is mayonnaise
none of the
an
things
instrument?
you described, I think, would be past that cutoff.
Does singing count as an instrument? I suppose not, or else
do marching bands have singers?
You're right.
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
That marching band had a singer, but I think that was an exceptional one.
Yeah, we can't all be
Instances of-
SpongeBob marching bands.
We are the champions.
That's their goal.
my
This is all the
friend.
symphony wants.
Yeah, that's what each marching band aspires to. Instances of SCP-332-B who join with 332 will march and play until they pass out from exhaustion or hunger, at which point they will be trampled by other instances of B and 332. For every 10-B instances who join 332, the area of effect will increase by 300 meters, like a video game Ultimate. This radius of effect will expand until all instances of -B are terminated or incapacitated, at which point 332's active state will immediately cease. 332 was contained following Incident 332-A, the incident during which 332 was initially activated. Between the point from when it activated to being disabled by Foundation agents, Incident 332-A resulted in the deaths of 40% of Kirk Lawnwood's high school staff and students. The school was closed down under the pretense of fire damage, with students, locals, and survivors being issued Class B amnesiacs. Would that be amnestics in the modern day?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be. I think that might have actually just been written that way to spite someone I didn't like at the time. Who
I remember I stuck with amnesiacs for quite a while because I was used to it.
Yeah.
Successful containment for 332 was achieved on 7/19/1976 with a classification of Euclid. All right, so now we have Addendum 332-B.
I was going to hit real quick that the little such and such has been classified by Euclid at this date is a little flourish that I use to end a lot of articles because it's a pretty good way to feel conclusive because it ties back into the first thing they read, the item number containment procedures. It's like
I'll keep an eye out for that.
So that's something that I do in a lot of my articles, just as because if I can't figure out an ending, it's like, well, here's an easy way to make a stopping point so I can move on without it feeling weird because of no transition.
By the way, it feels weird to say this because I forgot to say it before we started recording, but just as a heads up, a lot of the format is us like cutting in and making jokes, so just as ahead of time, none of that will be us making fun of you or your SCPs, but we just like to do that.
You'd have to try a lot harder not to hurt my feelings, don't worry.
Okay, awesome. I just wanted to make
double sure. Okay, let's get to it then.
During initial cleanup operations following 332's containment, a 16mm camera was discovered outside what would have been the first-story window of Kirk Lawnwood High School. The transcript of this video, although highly corrupted, is the only record of Incident 332-A. Do you want to read this one for us, Roger? Do you want to spin us off?
Yeah. Give me a sec to pull it up on my phone so I can have it nice and close to my face.
Awesome.
So in the meantime, I want to thank today's sponsor. Trying to think of a business that could feasibly have sponsored us.
I'm sponsoring. Do my news website. Do my news blog.
Roger's news blog, with all the best news in the Florida area.
Yeah,
northeast Florida.
If you'd like, we can plop that link in the description, probably.
Cool.
I mean, that's what Tanhony work, not for me to do.
Yeah, and I've also got a Twitter page attached to it that I just post a ton of pictures around the city. All right, I'm ready to go.
Write this down. All right. Also, don't let me forget, Tanhony. Before we do comments, but after SCPs, I have an anecdote to share.
Okay, I'm looking forward to your anecdote.
All right, I'm ready for this. Hit us out for Roger.
Begin log. The camera is pointed at a large window, believed to be in the school's front office. Several members of SCP-332 can be seen preparing their instruments on the field. There is no sound. The camera swings forward. The camera swings towards unidentified woman number 1. It is believed that the cameraman is speaking to her, although no sound can be heard.
I love the implication of unidentified woman number 1. What's the word I'm looking for? Implies that there are other unidentified women. They're lurking out there.
It's setting it up, right? Setting it up for more people. That was purposeful.
No, I know. I'm just making wisecracks.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, continue.
One of SCP-332's clarinet players can be seen walking by in the background. The next section of the tape is damaged. No identifiable content is present.
I have to say, one of my favourite tropes is like creepy video that the sound is lost in.
Oh, and it's just the visuals, and like you have no clue what horrible sounds were being made.
There's no context.
Oh, I love that, especially in like those horror documentary style films. And there's like all the creepy stuff before, and then there's just the one scene where like the camera's on the ground and you see part of it, and there's no audio.
Just a dude standing in the corner.
Yeah, and then his legs fucking lift off the ground.
God, I want to watch that movie again. It's that time of year to watch the movie again too. Shit. Hell yeah. All right. Picture and sound briefly become clear, and a voice believed to belong to unidentified woman number 1 remarks about one band member's outfit having an unusual attribute, although what was unusual about it is not heard. Then static. Sound and picture return with greatly improved quality, with the cameraman chatting with unidentified woman number 1. Unidentified woman number 2 is heard off-screen at 7:09, referencing a band equipment supplier known as Syncope Symphony, and remarking that she was unable to find it with the information that was provided to her. Unidentified man number 1, also in the background, claims that he will investigate it at a later date. The sound cuts out again. The camera is pointed out to the field as SCP-332's performance begins. At the 11-minute mark, several persons in the audience begin to exhibit signs of distress. At the 11:30-minute mark, the camera is violently jerked away from the floor and dropped. Several persons, including the cameraman and unidentified woman number 2, are seen to move around the office in a state of distress. At the 11:45 mark, SCP-332 enters an active state. Unidentified woman number 1 is seen to exit the office and go outside of the 16-minute mark, and there's static. The camera is picked up and pans around the room. Several seemingly deceased persons are visible in frame, including the original cameraman. The camera is briefly pointed out the window, where SCP-332 is performing. The tape ends at the 19-minute mark.
And there it leaves us. You know what that kind of reminds me of, if it wasn't, like, so spooky?
Yeah?
Have you seen that bit that Key and Peele did of, like, the party rockers, but they never stop partying?
Yes.
They can't escape the party loop. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
I wonder if that...
Right.
I know I was a fan of Key and Peele. It might have been out at that time. That could have been part of what inspired it.
Maybe. Deep lore. There you have it, folks.
That'd be a subconscious inspiration, because I'm pretty sure I wasn't at least consciously thinking about it when I wrote it.
Yeah.
But you saying it reminded me.
Party rockers in the house tonight.
I like this one. Fairly
Party
simple and
rockers
to
in
the
your house
point.
forever.
But the writing is concrete. It gets to what it's going for. I'd give it a solid 7.5 out of 10.
7.5
Yeah, I
what?
think for something I wrote when I was 17, I'm not too disappointed in this one.
Yeah.
7 and a 7.5 what?
We always know it's out of 10, except
Yeah, but
when I
7
go higher
is-
than
but
10.
What, 7 what? Stars?
Marching band SCPs.
7 slightly bloody sad trombones.
I would give it 7 or 8, yeah.
Yeah. Solid.
I'd give it a
What do you
6.
rate it? Fair enough. All right. And with that, I guess I'll get to see where the theme's going. What's the next one you got for us, Tanhony?
Wow. Oh, I told you not to use my name.
Tony is your Jedi name, I thought, or was
Oh,
it
yeah.
Anatony? Anatony.
Next one is SCP 1976, and this one is called...
Oh, I get it, because that was the year. I caught that.
This one is called To My Son Who Will Never Know Me, and it is by Roger.
Oh,
Yeah.
Roger, your poor son.
Let's get into this article. Item
Yes.
number SCP-1976. Object class Zafe. Special Containment Procedures. SCP... You alright, Darnell?
What do you mean?
Nothing bothering you?
What do you mean?
About the object class, maybe?
I already made a comment. Did you not hear me? I said 1976, like the year from the last one.
I'm just
Object
saying-
class Saffron?
Yeah, Object class Zafe. It's just usually quite happy to see a Zafe article.
We can
I
talk about
just,
this article at Saffron.
I've given up on the fact that you're never going to say safe, all right? You're dead to me. I'll kill you.
Okay, Special
But not right
Containment
now.
Procedures.
Not in front of our guest. Don't embarrass me in front of Roger again. I swear to God.
SCP-1976 is to be contained in a standard humanoid containment chamber located within Site-77 Zafe SCP wing. Personnel entering SCP-1976.
I will say that Site-77 will also be a thing that comes up, probably in all of these or most of these.
Yes, that's like...
And if you embarrass me in front of Roger one more time, I'm going to start talking in ASMR.
Personnel entering SCP-1976's containment
God.
chamber are to wear tinted goggles to prevent accidental viewing of SCP-1976. All images and videos depicting SCP-1976 have been destroyed.
Tanhony, do the rest of the reading in an ASMR.
No, you don't know.
ASMR
You don't know what you're
voice.
saying.
He can't handle ASMR. I don't know why.
Oh,
he just
no.
hates it.
It terrifies me.
Would it
Yeah.
be mean if I started doing reading in an ASMR then? Would that be? Would that
No,
be mean to
on the
do?
contrary, it would be hilarious.
No, please.
Okay, so I'll save-
I
I'll
love to
save it
see him
then.
suffer.
We'll see. Maybe we'll see. If you
so-
wrong me, Tanhony, we'll see.
Special containment procedures are a little short this time, so I don't have much to go off of, but what I'm going to guess is it's a video recording of a specific performance from the last SCP.
Okay.
That's my guess right now.
Why don't
Locking
you
it
read
in.
the description and tell us about it then?
Why do I have to keep reading the
Because
description?
we've
Why don't you do it,
now
big guy?
established a format.
Because you touch yourself at night.
What? Who told you? Hey. Description. SCP-1976 is a humanoid organism, approximately 2 meters tall and weighing 120 kilograms. Is this you, Roger?
No, I think I weigh less than 120 kilograms.
When viewed remotely, SCP-1976 resembles the subject believed to be responsible for its creation, an adult male named... What's the name, Rocher?
Tom Servo.
Tom Servo from Mystery Science Theater
Hell
3000.
yeah.
In a persistent vegetative state. A tattoo of English text is presented on its back. See it. Okay, so I know it's saying see the addendum for the English text, but I thought for a second I thought the tattoo just said see addendum. Give it a look. If a pubescent human subject is able to, does that mean like adult or post-puberty rather? I guess. What,
well,
I've never heard pubescent. What is pubescent?
Well, it's prepubescent, and then there's after
That's
that.
what I'm saying. Does that mean after
you've
puberty?
the hairs have begun, and it's too late for you.
Okay, so post puberty is able to view 1976, whether by seeing it physically or on a reproduced image such as a photograph or video. They will come under the immediate and permanent belief that 1976 is the person they recognize as their father, who has recently been injured due to a serious accident. Wait, what was the name of this one again?
This one is called To My Father Who Will Never Know Me. No, To My Son Who Will Never Know Me.
Subjects will attempt to draw attention to their father's condition, which will invariably lead them to start a GoFundMe. No, which will invariably lead to additional subjects being affected by 1976. If a 1976 affected person is presented with their real father, they will not recognize them and react as though they were a stranger. Subjects who have never known a father figure, have a deceased father, or have lived without their father since early childhood will be unaffected. Interesting. So it's one of those rare instances, because usually, and maybe that's just the newer ones, Tan, because someone mentioned to me that Series 3 has a lot of, like, OP SCPs, but it's kind of interesting to hear an SCP whose anomalous effect doesn't overcome real-life experiences. Because usually it's like, oh, it would overwrite it and make you think they were always your father. But this one is like, if you didn't have a father, your father's dead, you're kind of immune to it, which I think is kind of neat.
I always like to do little things like that for the cognito hazards, because I think it's boring if it's just got a blanket effect, because human brains don't work that way, right?
Yeah, I actually 100% agree. I think this is a much more nuanced and clever way to do it than making your SCP OP and, oh, there's no avoiding it, oh... what was I... Oh, yeah, this... So far, for some reason, this is reminding me of, like, have you guys ever watched Codename Kids Next Door?
Yeah.
Do you remember, like, the weirdo 5 kids who had, like, the father,
yeah.
and he was, like, a silhouette? That's him! My children. If more than one subject is affected by 1976 at once, they will each believe that 1976 is their father. They will attempt to conduct logical arguments with other 1976 affected subjects, attempting to use their interpretations of 1976's appearance to convince them. When these attempts invariably fail, subjects will attempt to take 1976 by force, sometimes attempting to contact higher levels of authority in order to accomplish this. 1976 was discovered on 9/17/1976, after a case... Hold on, how long was that compared to the marching band incident? I need to cross-reference the streams here. Let me go. When was 3/3? Oh, it was the same day!
Ooh.
Oh, no, it wasn't.
Oh, no.
It was 7/19/1976. This one's 9/17. So ever so slightly different.
I love the idea of a bunch of different anomalies that just coincidentally happened on the same day.
Yeah, and everyone's like, is this day special? And it was just a pure coincidence. After a case of massive confusion caused by 1976 at a local hospital reached Foundation assets. Investigation into 1976's origin revealed that it had been taken to the hospital from a residential address in Huntington, West Virginia?
West Virginia.
Yeah! Several documents were recovered from the address, with neighbors and family members issued amnestics.
Oh, you can see that he succumbs.
Huntington comes up in other class of 76 SCPs as well, because that's where my family and my dad's dad is from.
Aw, nice.
I see you succumbed
like how,
to the amnestics change here.
Yeah, it's like how Cactus used to do everything in Iowa. Or Indiana, sorry. Keep thinking Iowa for some reason.
The famous
Addendum.
Iowa author, teacher Cactus.
Text is believed to have been created by Alan, last name?
Leipzig.
Alan Leipzig, a former school teacher. I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Leipzig.
Alan Leipzig,
Yeah.
a former school teacher, and there's a link here. Do we need to click that for this article?
No.
Okay. Who had died of a brain tumor 2 months prior to 1976's recovery. Investigation into connections between this individual and possible groups of interest have not yielded substantial evidence. It is possible that Mr. Leipzig is connected to the syncope. Is it syncope or syncope? I think you said syncope earlier.
I kind of just roll with whatever. I don't have a specific pronunciation in my head. I think it doesn't really matter given their nature.
The syncope.
Syncope Symphony.
The syncope.
All right, do you want to read this again, Roger, or would you prefer I spin it off to Tanhony?
Let's give Tan a turn.
All right,
Damn it! I
Tanhony.
was trying to establish a format that gave me the least work.
You fool.
Okay, I got to do a voice for this. I think this is okay.
So this is the SCP talking.
This is the
right?
tattoo, I believe.
No, I thought this was a new. I don't remember. I didn't even remember writing this. I wrote this article after a fever dream. So
This is text created by a school teacher who died of a brain tumor 2 months
It
prior.
says the
to
tattoo of English text is present on its
Gotcha.
back, and that's
This is
the
like
addendum.
a note that they think is related.
Well, it says the tattoo of English text is present on its back, see addendum. So I assume this is what that is.
Oh
That
yeah,
makes more sense.
it is. This is whole script. It's like a Pam from Archer. He's got this on his back.
And this is on the SCP's back.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're real, don't call yourself a real SCP fan if you don't have this tattooed on your back.
Oh my god! Imagine you go to a tattoo artist and you're like, "Hey, I want something tattooed on my back. I want a message." And they're like, "Okay, cool." And you hand them a fucking essay. You're like, just post. This is my will. I need them to cut it off my back to inherit my will.
I just wanted to be there for my kids. They're too young for this. Jess is 13 and Liz just turned 12. I wanted them to have a father when they grow up, and for Margaret to have a husband. When we learned about the tumour, I wanted to spend as much time with them as possible, and I did. These past months we've grown closer than ever, but my head keeps getting worse, and our last days together are coming. They deserved better than old memories and photographs. I started making out the things I'd saved from my younger days. It wasn't as much as there was back then, but it needed to be done. I got the body from the crematorium. Used to work there, so it wasn't much of a hassle to get in. Need a minute, my head started to hurt as I write this. There's a ringing in my ears, loud and clear. Not ringing, I can hear how the children used to sing.
I know this is like a really serious note, but I'm just imagining the fucking tattoo artist. It's like the stream of consciousness.
I'm imagining like looking at this, it would look like some kind of a stick and poke kind of deal. Maybe it wouldn't look professional. There wouldn't be a font, like it's not in Helvetica or Verdana or anything.
Right, it's just like written.
On the other hand, imagine this just written and tattooed on someone's back in Times New Roman.
So what I'm getting, I know we're we're almost done here, but I'm guessing the school teacher, he wanted his kids and his wife to have someone, so he tried to make like a Frankenstein-esque father, and then it became this. Is what I'm getting.
That's what I think so as well, yeah. It didn't take that long to do. That was probably the problem. Not spending enough time on it. Not making sure it was what it was supposed to be instead of what it actually was. I couldn't have done it over, but it could have been destroyed. When I brought it home, I told them that I was an emergency worker, bringing Alan from an accident. It was bullshit, but the effects should have filled in the gaps. When I showed Liz and Jess the thing, they just asked where their dad was. And Margaret thought it was her dad. They asked me where their daddy was, and I couldn't tell them, and they cried, and I cried, and I had to leave. Never went back. I didn't want to make them never have any father. I was just doing it for my kids.
Oh, because it says if your dad's dead, and he died. Sad.
Dun, dun, dun.
So it didn't even help. All it did was mess up other people.
Yeah.
This is a sad one. I'll give this one an 8 out of 10.
Yeah,
This was very sad.
8
I like
out
the
of 10.
story behind it. I feel like it would. I feel like it could have benefited a bit more from a little more narrative build-up, in terms of the story, because it relies pretty heavily on the addendum. But overall, I think it's a very interesting concept, and I really like. Once again, I mentioned it earlier, but I really like that you put that it doesn't just overwrite people's memories, because that makes it more meaningful and actually has an impact on the narrative itself. That it couldn't even serve the original purpose.
Yeah, it makes it all just that much more dynamic when you can put those pieces together in your head and realize, oh, he fucked up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. What do you think, Tam?
I like it. Definitely 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I think I'd give it an 8 out of 10 too, just because I'm pretty happy that I could. I think I also wrote this when I was 17 or 18, and I was having a pretty bad fever at the time. So the fact that I could produce something like that in an altered brain state is
Yeah,
I'm good with that.
If you don't mind us asking, how old are you by now? Or
I just turned
right
25 on the 18th of September.
Hey, nice.
Nice.
All right, we're all around the same age then. Good stuff. You're technically the oldest one here. Welcome.
Wow.
Yeah, by a lump.
Finally, father. All right, what's the next one you got for us, Tam?
Next one is SCP-1423.
So I am curious though. Aside from the year, don't spoil it for me. But aside from the year, how's that related to the marching band? Or was it the school teacher from that school, perhaps?
It's all the class of 76.
Oh, that's the theme?
Class of
SCP-1423.
76.
And this one is called Summer of 76 by Roger.
The last of the original trilogy.
Ooh.
Next
original
comes the
trilogy.
prequels.
Are we gonna get the Star Wars?
Being, the yearbook, the marching band, and the picture, the photograph.
All right. So what's this one called, Tan?
This one is called Summer of '76. I just told you
All
this.
right. I know.
And you responded to me and
interjected.
repeated it.
I
Do you remember?
Short-term memory. ADHD, I
Listen.
understand. ADHD solidarity.
Thank you. See, he always bullies me for this, and I try to tell him it's ADHD. I
But
literally
you
can't help it,
just-
and he doesn't care.
You just repeated it back to me, though.
You don't get it. That's just how ADHD
It is.
works.
That's how it is, Tan. You can't
That's how
judge
it
us.
works. You're being really mean and insensitive right now.
sorry.
Yeah,
I
you're being
apologize.
really phobic of our mental disorders, and I for
I'd
one
like-
will not stand for
so,
this.
I will interrupt the podcast now to give off my YouTube apology.
you fucking it switches to a webcam of Tan with his dog. Hey guys.
Just only an apology.
Hey guys,
Neurodivergence.
I
It's a
really
big
messed
deal.
up this time.
No, I'm not actually
I-
that mad, but
I've
I
heard-
just want you to think. I just want you to acknowledge that it's not me being ignorant of you. It's just I can't help it.
So I saw in the comments a lot of you are offended at me. So I'm sorry you feel that way, but I did
So-
nothing wrong.
All right,
That's
you
the-
ready to
that's
start
the
us off?
closest
I'm
you'll
gonna
get.
give you a vaccine and give you ADHD now, Tan, just so you know how it feels.
I'm gonna spit in your food and you're gonna get infected with ADHD.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into it. Did I actually give the link there, or did you just complain? Okay.
You gave me the link, 1423.
So, item number SCP-1423. I go on you for forgetting stuff, and then I forget if I gave you the link or not.
Oh, how the turntables.
It's because I gave you ADHD. Now you're one of us.
Object class. Object
One
class
of us,
Zafe.
one of us.
Did you just say Zafe to my face
I
again?
did, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Don't. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-1423 is to be contained in a standard containment locker located in Site-77's Safe Zafe SCP wing. No
Oh, you said it too late, you can't take it back.
I just did. No personnel to come into physical contact with SCP-1423, and any who have done so are to be treated as cognition hazard victims and removed from active duty. Personnel assigned to research SCP-1423 are to be given full psychological evaluations every 4 weeks to detect if they've been affected. So
Alright,
is 1423 like a meaningful number? I know a lot of your stuff is Atari numbers, if I'm right.
Absolutely.
Atari?
Big time.
What's Atari numbers?
The Atari, they're the first three dedicated television-based game systems they made were the Atari Video Computer System, also known as the 2600, which was followed up by the 5200, which was then followed up by the 7800, which I'm looking at mine right now, actually. And
So I assume you're waiting for bated breath for Series 8.
Yeah, and I also do have an SCP Jaguar J for the Atari Jaguar. I just need a Lynx J and I'll have everything.
Nice.
Everything.
So does 1423
Alright.
mean anything?
It's all mine.
Yeah, because that's not one of the ones you listed.
No,
right,
that's
for
not
numbers.
an Atari SCP. That's just 1420. I think that was I wanted to get a whole bunch of ones in the 1420s range. Oh no, that was the 1700s. I think this is just a random number I picked.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So the containment procedures normally wouldn't be enough for me to come with it, but looking at the picture with the scene of discovery makes me think it has something to do with photographs. And I know you mentioned yearbook before, so maybe.
So description. I'll do the description
yes.
this time so I can make some.
No. This is your punishment now because you said Zafe.
Wait, no.
I will do the
Hold
description.
on, don't. I know what you...
SCP-1423 is a Polaroid photograph circa 1976. It depicts several unidentified teenagers and is believed to have been taken in the summer of that year.
Slow down, draw it out, really make it soft.
The message.
Breathe
We've had a
really
great
breath.
year, haven't we? Had been written on the back of SCP-1423 in charcoal. Whenever SCP-1423 is held by a human subject, they will suffer a memory-altering effect. Over the next several weeks, the subject will show a tendency
It's
to
like
reminisce
torture.
about the last summer vacation they experienced in high
I'll
school.
read the footnote. Subjects who never attended high school or never had a summer vacation will report the last summer they experienced. What I'm concerned about is that I don't know how much you're concentrating the SMR. I'm like, do you actually
Testing.
know what you've just read out?
Yes.
Tell me what you've read out.
That whenever the object is held by a human subject, it's a photograph, and whenever they hold it, then they have their memories altered, presumably to whatever the photograph is, but it hasn't been specified yet.
Testing has shown these memories are accurate.
I was trying to use that as an excuse to make him stop.
SCP-1423 affected Subjects have an unusually high rate of accuracy in these memories.
All right, I'll spare you for now, but don't let me catch you saying Zafe again. SCP-1423 affected subjects will attempt to revisit locations from their vacation, such as concerts, cities, amusement parks, farms, hometowns, and will attempt to contact other subjects whom they contacted during that period.
Kind of repeated contact too many times, so I should probably go in there
so
and do
what
a phrasing edit.
So what they're reminiscing by last summer vacation isn't their actual summer vacation. That's just usually what their memories altered about, right?
Yeah, they're nostalgic for somebody else's memories.
Ooh, that's kind of cool. I like that. Like, in theory, if you had to... Because I know the SCP is the Polaroid photograph in question, but, like, if you were to have, like, the camera, I wonder if you could have people share your memories.
Mm.
When revisiting these locations, subjects will express feelings of regret that they didn't experience as much as they could have. Oh, this is so high school. I love it. Like, it has that's such a high school feel all the time.
I think I wrote this actually when I was in high school. What's the year on this one again?
Considering it's series 2, probably like 2012, 2013.
2013.
Yeah,
very early
I
2013.
graduated high school in 2014. So I was literally in high school when I wrote this.
Damn.
About a year away from graduating.
They may attempt to recreate the experience. However, all subjects attempting to do so have reported immense dissatisfaction. Following this change, subjects will become highly possessive of SCP-1423, claiming that it documents their experiences. They will begin experiencing dreams of idealized... I wonder what happens if you were to scan these photos and then people touch the scanned, copied versions. That would be a really cool test log, but it kind of takes away from the narrative. But I would just be curious about that. They will begin experiencing dreams of idealized versions of their vacation, which will increase in clarity the longer they possess 1423. In several cases, 1423 affected subjects would begin keeping journals based on their dreams. If 1423 is not removed from the subject's possession at this time, they will neglect all activities that do not relate to SCP-1423. However, after 3 to 5 months of exposure, subjects will begin to document major alterations to their dreams. Subjects may report elements not found in their vacation, instead claiming that they are no longer able to remember their dreams properly. They will continuously attempt to utilize 1423's effects, with each dream becoming longer and less related to their original experience. Excuse me. This effect will persist indefinitely. Ooh. So if they're with it long enough, it's just never going to go away.
Yeah, you're fucked.
Would amnestics figure... I guess they're mentioned in the next paragraph. Let me read that first. SCP-1423 was covered from the home of... Roger?
Bob Saget.
Bob Saget. That does fit, actually. Bob Saget, who had been reported missing by his neighbors. Oh no, Bob Saget! After local authorities reported on 1423's anomalous effect, Foundation personnel were able to intervene and suppress the reports. Class C amnestics were administered to witnesses. However, Bob Saget had been previously administered amnestics in 1976 after he was present at Kirk Longwood High School during incident SCP-332-A. Class A amnestics were given to Mr. Saget. An investigation into his connection is ongoing. Alright, do we want to spin this off to Tanhony or Roger?
Roger, go on.
Ooh.
Alright, documents recovered from an SCP-1423 affected subject. Hit us off.
Alright. The documents recovered from... Oh, hold on, crap, I went to the wrong...
I'm looking
I
forward to
navigated
seeing
away
how
from it
you...
because I'm a fool. It's 1423, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I was following along and I navigated away but like a fool.
All good, all good.
I'm looking forward to seeing how he pronounces the different fonts.
St. Augustine's the most racist city in America.
He's speaking in tongues.
Sorry, I was just warming up a little bit.
Don't
It's
know, what's he doing?
endless and never-ending, and all those other words for too damn long. We've got our vans on the roads ahead, but we never get anywhere. We're always closer to the concert. There's a concert today. Yesterday we were headed to Miami to go and see the Coral Castle. Last Tuesday it was Washington to get together with the suffragists. Suffrage? God, that ain't right. We ain't right about anything. I really, really want to just grab Jeffrey in his fucking face and yell, "Hey, we're never getting anywhere. It's just the same shit, you dumbass. When do we get there?" But he won't hear because I won't say it. I'm relaxed here. And rolling through hills of technicolor grasses and farms. We passed the Boyd farm about 11 times yesterday, and every time it had the same rusty gate out front. I think I saw someone resting on the porch once with depraved hollow eyes that followed down the road.
So what I'm guessing is the original memory was pleasant, and it's these like continuously affected and diverging from the original that are like the crazy written ones, where it's like bolded or like different font.
It's kind of like if you've taped over the same tape so many times that it's gone so thin you can see through it, and you can't tell what was there first and what's a copy of something else.
Yeah, that's so menacing. Oh, I love it.
It wasn't swamp gas. You almost look forward to class now. Class? God, I haven't thought of class in months, maybe years. I remember seeing that tightwad Nathan with his stupid face and rusty glasses. Man, I used to want to punch his mug every time I saw it, that dumb oblivious grin. Shit, I saw him now. I don't know. I'm overthinking this. We'll be at the concert tomorrow anyways. I can't wait to see Amy again. Roads is to go on, climbing crack time. Jamie tried to buy back his soul with a dime he found under the cushion. Stuck it in like a penny arcade, we watched him spin. The sun's ahead of us, burning and crumbling. There's some light dancing between the trees lining the road. They aren't trees, really, more like puppy dog tails wiggling in the wind. Found a postcard from Dad again. Hopes my vacation will be as good as the one he took. I hope he's wrong, right?
Oh,
Menacing.
weird. Was the puppy dog tales meant to be tales like stories?
It was meant to be not. It was meant to be not specifically their tales that would be physical, but something that would suggest the physical tales, and tale is the closest word to it.
Ooh, I like it.
Because it's
Right.
in memory, so it's however he would see that.
So I like this one a lot. I want to give this one a 9.5 out of 10. I really like the narrative of it. I only wish there was a little bit more to these memories.
We'll even want more.
Pretty much my only wish is that it was longer. What I like about these so far, and I don't know if this applies to all your SCPs, Roger, because we've read a couple of yours, but I don't remember the ones too fondly about like the Russian missile and stuff. But what I like is
You say you remember it well or don't remember it fondly? Because I agree that it's
sorry, I don't remember it well.
Okay, yeah, because that one's not that great. I don't think.
Yeah, that actually I said that too, but that's not what I meant when I was saying that.
I saw Darnell try to walk back on his opinions there for a minute.
No, I did not. I just said the wrong word. Sorry, but no. Well, how can I go back on my word? It's already in a recorded episode where I talked about it. There's no way to go back on it, Dan. No, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, what I've noticed about these three is a lot of, at least these earlier SCPs, tend to be really heavy on like logs with D classes, which I don't think is bad or wrong, but it's kind of interesting that all these are like things that were found and then promptly contained without further testing, because it was like to prevent them from doing the bad thing, which feels like what SCP is supposed to be when you first read about it, because I know a lot of it is like they're trying to get the research, but the original concept of SCP is containing things to protect people. But a lot of them, even the early ones, are like, they just send a billion D classes to their desk to figure out what the fuck they do. So it's kind of interesting.
Like that one. Like have you ever read the tale? Not decom Anon, Keter Duty. Not Keter Duty. Fuck, what is it? Not Your Business. Not Your Business.
No, I don't think so. We haven't read that many tales.
Go read Not Your Business after this. You'll thank me later.
Maybe we will sometime on the podcast.
Ooh.
But yeah, I really like that. It feels like it's sticking a little more to the original idea, which was we're protecting citizens from these effects after we discover them, rather than like, let's see how many D classes we can fuck up by touching the photograph.
Yeah, I always try to keep the foundation as tangential as possible when writing the class of 76. Like, ideally, the only reason they're involved in the story at all is because you're reading it from their perspective. Otherwise, it's just something that happened that they found out about.
Precisely, and I think that's kind of a nice breath of fresh air. And I really like this one in particular. I think this is my favorite one we've done thus far of today.
Nice.
Yeah. And then what is the fourth one, Tan? Because he said it was an original trilogy, so I'm curious what you connected.
I think that we don't have the original trilogy here on deck today. I think this is this the only one, Tan, or are we going to go with one of the others?
Well, we have one last SCP for today, and that's SCP-1833, and that's called
the original.
And Darnell, it is called Class of 76.
Yes, Class of 76.
Yeah, it's called Class of 76.
Sorry, someone was DMing me. They thought I were angry at them, and I was like, no, I'm not angry at you. I just disagreed with you on the internet.
Okay.
Sorry, I got distracted. 1833, you said
Yes,
it's Class of 76?
Yes.
And it says Reflections of 76 in the photograph. Oh, I love that. That's so yearbook font. Oh, it's so good. Is this the yearbook?
This is by Roger, needless to say.
Roger. Alright, Tan, let's see if you've learned your lesson.
Item number SCP-1833. Object class.
Hold on, drum roll.
Zafe. Special Containment Procedures. SCP
I'll accept it.
1833 is to be contained in a standard containment locker.
This is where my attorney's like, this is bullshit, and the judge is like, I'll allow it.
Located in Site 77 Zafe SCP wing. No personnel other than Class D personnel are authorized to handle the SCP. We've entered the Zafe arc of discovering SCP.
Welcome, warning, entering the Zafe zone. Please cover your ears.
Description.
Yeah. Do you want to do this one?
Yeah, well. SCP...
You said S twice.
SCP-1833 is a copy of the 1976 edition blank high school yearbook.
Is that Lawnwood? Kirk Lawnwood?
How about it, Roger?
No.
Oh, what is it, Roger? Which high school?
You gotta tell us.
I don't actually... Let me look at it. The number of black boxes. I don't remember if I was pretending for it to be... No, it's not my high school, because my high school had a much longer name than that. My high school is called South Plantation. I'm trying to remember, because I probably would have actually picked something for this. I'm trying to see how many characters are in it. One... Come on. It's hard to do it. Can one of you tell me how many individual black boxes there are? Because it's hard to do it on iOS.
7. There are 7.
7.
You are totally allowed to make one up, even if it doesn't line up with the number.
No, I'm trying to actually remember, because I think there was something.
Chilling out with the crew. And
it might have just been Leipzig again, because Alan Leipzig was a good friend of mine who was a mentor who I knew at the time, and he was a teacher, so I probably would have been thinking of him when I wrote these.
Sure, let's go with Leipzig.
And actually, that reminds me that something I wanted to say for the 70s, when we talk about SCP 1976, is that it's actually, in retrospect, the person who is Alan Leipzig in real life. He just adopted kids a couple of years ago, because he and his wife were, trying to have kids. They adopted kids, but he wanted to be a father so bad for so long. And he's such a great dad now, but he wasn't a dad when I wrote that, so I wasn't thinking of him becoming one, especially because I was just a kid. So looking back now, it's kind of, I don't really want him to read it. I hope he never sees it, because it'd be kind of sad, because he'd be thinking of his kid. I love him and his kid. I don't want them to be sad.
Oh, I'm glad he's doing better. I'm glad he's got a family. That's a very happy ending.
Yeah.
I'm now decanonizing.
Wonderful. They played TurboGrafx 16 pinball games together, and they're wholesome level 200.
Aww. All right. Tanhony,
let's get back on track. Sorry, I just had to jump out of it.
No, you're good. This podcast is literally all about tangents and sidetracking. You're free to do it whenever.
Perfect.
So its appearance is consistent with other copies of the book and appears to have normal worth for an object of its age. The yearbook is entitled Reflections of 76. It is hardcover and contains exactly 50 pages.
Pretty short for a yearbook.
The book is divided into 5 sections: a collection of student photographs, photographs from around the school year, club photos, photos from athletic events, and an autograph section. When the SCP is read by any person who has graduated from high school, the object's anomalous effect will initiate. The individual, hereafter referred to as the subject, who reads SCP-1833 will perceive it as their own high school yearbook, containing messages left by persons with whom they've associated socially during their high school years. Initially, these photographs and messages will be positive, with encouraging comments written in the book's margins, often mentioning events that invoke positive feelings in the subject.
Oh, yay.
However, after approximately 10 pages are read...
Oh, that's so sweet! However... Oh, no.
The message will begin to become more negative in tone. Initially, they will recount events that occurred during high school for which the subject feels embarrassment or remorse. They will then begin to mention events from the subject's life that occurred after completing high school, and will make personal attacks on the subject.
Is this the yearbook or just my brain late at night when I'm trying to sleep?
In addition, the photographs depicted in the book will become more negative, with the persons depicted in the photographs often appearing to be heavily deformed. After an indeterminate number of pages have been read, ranging from 20 to 30 pages, photographs of the subject will begin to appear in the book. Initially, these photographs will depict embarrassing events that occurred during the subject's time in high school. However, the subject...
Yeah, like that time Tan pronounced safe wrong.
However, as the subject progresses through the book, the photographs will become more disturbing, with photographs of the subject committing crimes, being mutilated, and being harmed by other persons depicted in SCP-1833 being the most commonly reported images.
No.
Yes.
But as long as you stop reading before 10 pages, you're good to go.
Oh, is cyberbullying real? Just stop reading the book. Just close your eyes.
That's true. Is there any effect that makes you keep reading, or in theory, could you just be good to go?
You can totally stop whenever you want. There's absolutely nothing keeping you there.
Oh, that's so interesting. But I imagine the good memories make people want to turn more, and then the morbid curiosity keeps them.
Remember when you thought Minecraft Steve wouldn't be in Smash?
Shut the fuck up. I can't believe you brought him in just to fuck with me.
Okay, so who will read the last addendum?
Do you want to do this, Roger, or would you like me to do it?
Go for it, man.
Okay. Page 3. Beginning of SCP-1833's content. Several students, including the subject, are depicted in candid photographs taken during the school year. All persons depicted in the photographs appear smiling, and the subject is pictured socializing with a large group of attractive students. It's kind of suspect that the SCP people wrote attractive students.
Yeah, which doctor wrote this?
Dr. Tanho is over party! Page 10. Subjects appears to be giving a presentation to a class. The topic of this presentation varies between subjects, but students observing appear engaged and interested. Page 16. First instance of negative imagery. The subject appears to be spilling a lunch tray onto several other students. Oh, classic.
I would never
Page
have
20.
done that.
Subject appears in a goalie uniform, lying in the grass as the opposing team scores a goal. A marching band is visible in the background.
So menacing.
Yamero. Page 29. First instance of violent imagery. Subject appears to be in a nurse's office with several abrasion wounds on the face and neck. Page 36. Subject appears in a music club photograph. However, the other club members have congregated to the far side of the photo and appear to be jeering and throwing things at the subject.
This is a representation of me when I say Zafe.
Page 39.
History's greatest monster.
The subject appears to be sleeping in its bedroom.
History's softest monster.
And is surrounded by other persons depicted in the yearbook. These persons have grossly mutilated facial features and are looking directly at the viewer. Back cover, handwritten message saying, "We've had a great year, haven't we? Don't worry about waiting for the reunion. I'm sure we'll see each other soon enough. Lots of love from all of your best friends.
Peter.
Patrick Warburton." That was interesting. Again, the only complaint I have, which is like the last two, is I would only love to see more of the narrative because it was interesting. I feel like we get pulled away right as it gets interesting, but otherwise I like it. I'm going to give this one another 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
I've posted a couple pictures in the Discord here. They are from Remembrance, which is the tale series about the class of 76, and they're representative of SCP-1833's content.
One thing that's interesting to me, is all of these seem to have to do with memory, except the band one a little bit. I remember one of them mentioned I think the teacher was also affected by the band before. I would love to see someone who's been affected by all of the memories at once, or someone who was originally from the class go back to use these objects.
That's what Remembrance is.
Ooh.
Oh.
Maybe we got to take a look. See, how long are we into the recording? Do we have? We're 53 minutes, so if we do comments and my anecdote, we'll probably hit an hour. But
yeah,
if you want to go long,
I think we could save that. Let's save that for another one, because I'd love to do this again. I'm having a great time. I'd love to.
Yeah.
Probably, absolutely. We'll probably have you back soon. We like to have. We're hoping to have, if you're down, like a rotating number of guests that we can bring in whenever we do like your guys' SCPs.
Yeah.
Or like we feel like you would fit an episode. Because you mentioned another tale to read as well. So if we throw Remembrance in with that next time we do a Tales episode, I think would be great to have you.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to.
Nice.
All right.
So it's time for the comment section of the previous video.
Hold on.
Okay.
I had an anecdote.
What's your anecdote?
This is a story I mentioned on the Discord that people actually seemed interested in hearing about my anime battle with a dog the other day.
What? I was not briefed on this.
Yes. Sorry, this is just a real life story. So, I work at a dog place where you like watch dogs and you like play with them while the owners are out, or like they can be boarded there. And I get along really well with the dogs. I've been there about a month. I'm pretty good with most of the dogs. I'm pretty good with handling them. A lot of them like me, even the ones... There's like one dog that doesn't like men, and that dog likes me, so that was like a big win. But there's this one fucking dog named Zoe. And so the first few times I had Zoe, it wasn't that bad, right? But lately she's been like biting me, scratching me really bad. And the other day, Tuesday of this week, I had her, and she was like really messing me up bad. I've got like some bruises and scratches on me. And there was a time when I had like sprayed chemicals outside on the lawn.
Any specific kind?
The what kind?
Any specific kind of chemicals? Or?
Yeah.
Just like cleaning chemicals like chlorine and shit.
You're
can't
putting chlorine on your grass?
It's AstroTurf.
The grass has become the
Oh my
Joker.
god, what is this, Flanders Field? Jesus
It's
fucking
AstroTurf.
Christ.
No, it's AstroTurf. It's not real grass.
God,
it's
you're
like
gassing everyone who just goes by. You're just like pumping out chlorine. What's your
Yeah.
point? What is
Shut up.
wrong
The
with
dogs
you?
love
Oh
it.
my god.
Anyway, you clean it, and the dogs aren't supposed to go out. But Zoe breaks down the door, so I have to chase her. So I'm trying to put her on the leash thing, and she's like biting me, scratching, rah, 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 for like 5 minutes. And I'm like, come on, come in. You can't be on the grass. And then my coworker comes in, and she just immediately goes in the loop. So the first thing in my brain is like, what the fuck? So I go talk to the person, like, oh, Zoe, she's just testy. You have to prove your dominance over her. So I go, all right, bet. So next time we take the dogs out and we bring them in, my coworker's like, oh, do you need me to get Zoe for you? And I go, stand back. This is something I have to do for myself. so she starts biting and scratching, but this time instead of backing up, I charge at her and she books it. And she makes me fucking chase her around this, like, pool thing, and to the point where I get dizzy for the first time since I was, like, 6 years old, like, cartoon dizzy. And I finally managed to catch this damn dog after like 5 or 10 minutes. And for the rest of the day, she behaved for me, and we had like a mutual anime warrior respect for one another. It was like, you're all right. I understand your warrior's pride. It was very anime, and at the time it felt very epic, but recounting it feels really stupid.
That sounds very epic. That sounds like something straight out of a Hideo Kojima game.
That was my epic arc. And now we are here for
comments. And then they fought on top of a Metal Gear.
And then we fought for 2 hours until the battlefield was stained with blood. King Arthur. Alright, so our last episode, we will read the comments, and Roger, you are welcome to answer them with us. This is just something we always do at the end.
I would love to answer comments I have no context for.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I am not up to date on the show, guys. I'm going to just straight out say it, so I don't know what the last episode was.
It's okay.
I'm like 3 behind.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm surprised you actually watched it.
I love discovering SCP. I think it's great. I've been following since day one, boyo.
Right now, I'm giving you a heart with my hands.
Aww.
You can't see it, but it's real. All right. So I'll try to avoid anything too spoilery. Well, that means we'd have to avoid Hunter Spatafor's comment. I'd feel really bad. Well, you've probably read these SCPs. Do you think so, Tan?
I have read all the SCPs.
Okay, then we're good. So first comment. From an anonymous writer. Yay! They used the new opening I made! Smiley face. P.S. Yes, but actually no, Tanhony. Also a question. What are you anticipating for, Tanhony? Always see your status like that.
The Promise Day.
Oh my.
And then
that's
Big
ominous.
Cheese replied, I know, right? Big Cheese replied. So the first time he changed it to that was before a JoJo. He used to run this JoJo RP for us.
Nice.
And that's the first time I saw it, and I thought he removed it afterwards, so I thought it was anticipating the session, but then it just persisted forever. And I was like, hey, what's this for? And he was like, don't worry about it. It's so menacing. Yes, Anomalous Writer, you created our new intro. It's very cool, and we love it. So big props to him. Go check out his other work. And he did make a video that uses some of the assets. I promise we didn't steal the intro from him. He made this for us of his own volition. But there is one that's kind of similar to the intro. But the rest and everything is just, he makes some really cool work. You can go to his YouTube channel by clicking him on that comment. He'll probably be in the comments of this video too. Go check out his work. He made this really awesome, like, Marvel-esque. I showed it to Tanhony. Do you remember, like, the SCP Cinematic Universe intro?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was really cool.
I would love to see that. Send me a link to that when we're done here. I'd love to watch that with Kara. She'd probably get a kick out of it too.
Absolutely, will do. Next comment comes from Chris Carlson, who says, I have to say, I'm super excited for The Good, The Bad, and The Tanhony. What the fuck is that?
That'll be because of the current canon contest that I am participating in with Peppers.
Oh, because your ace is an 8.
Yeah.
It's a joke off the
Which
Cowboy
we still
movies.
haven't posted anything for, but that's because we're saving the best for last. You gotta stick around.
And then he says, you think you're lucky, punk? Well, let me ask you, did we have 3 containment breaches or 4? Yes, I butchered that misquote, I know. No, I get what you were saying. Lang Lim, who I think is the language person, said, I want to see how Darnell would react to the thing known as Tanhony, the current as well as the old revision. What the fuck is Tanhony?
Don't worry about Tanhony.
Wait, what? Is it actually a thing?
Okay.
What's Tanhony? Is that your cowboy OC?
I will tell you about Tanhony. So
Tanhony?
my original author page, the character for it was called Tanhony, and everyone said that's a stupid name, Tan. There's no one called Tanhony. Tan is a real fucking name. You know, I've stayed quiet about this for years, but
really?
I've had enough.
No, Tarn is a name. I know that. That's why I'm like, why did people say that's stupid? That just sounds mean.
Yeah, well, the site
If anything, they
was a
should
meaner
say
place back then. The site was definitely a much meaner place, especially before, like, 2012.
Yeah. If anything, people should say Tanhony's a dumb name because it's just fucking Anthony with the A moved 2 spaces forward.
Spoilers!
Wait, no, I messed that up. The T moved 2 places backwards. Sorry.
So yeah,
brain fart.
that is Tanhony. People laughed at me.
So what's Tanhony? Did you send something?
Wait, Darnell, do you find that ADHD gives you some slight dyslexic qualities when you're writing and speaking sometimes, too?
I'm not sure, but now that you mention it, it would make sense because I'll often like read something out of order.
I always start my sentences where I mean to end them.
Dyslexic. Oh man!
When I'm writing,
Dude,
I have to like, go through and fix my sentences because I put my endings first all the time.
I finally found a brotherhood with you, Roger, because Tanhony's always fucking bullying me because I think he thinks I'm making shit up about ADHD. He's so mean to me about it.
So you guys should just hire me full time because I can totally bounce off of you again. I have a dynamic with both now just through my mental disease, so it's perfect.
Friendship ended with Tanhony. Now Roger is my co-host.
Every time we get a guest on here, he tries to perform a coup.
It's because I love all the guests we've had so far.
Yeah, but it's not worked, has it? And
the greatest
you
man
go
alive.
to the prison zone every time.
Cactus, and the guest zone. Sorry, I'm gonna put you in the special guest zone. I like you and all, but I wouldn't want to do a podcast with you. All right. So I want you to be prepared, Roger, because there's this. We have a subscriber named Hunter Spataphora, and he makes very long comments. This one's actually tame compared to most of his ones. This one's
I remember some of his actually. I don't always read the comments, but I think I remember when you say the guy who leaves the long post. I'm like, oh, I've seen that before.
Yeah, the infamous one is during the last one with DJ Cactus, he made like a 35 or 39 one, and we spent an hour going through it on stream, a literal hour reading the whole thing and responding to it.
If you leave a comment of equal length, sir, I will go on a stream and break it down as well. I would love to do that.
Absolutely.
Leave me a novel. I dare you.
So Hunter Spataphora says,
double dare you.
I'm worried now because he will do it.
This new intro is very smooth. Will this be the intro from now on?
Yes.
Yes, it will, unless Tan forgets to put it in.
I won't.
Next, I'm not going to read all the timestamps. SCP-2309, Iron Wall of Dual Carnane by Univine. Comments, the SCP Darnell was thinking of... Hang on, I'll be right back. I'm so sorry, I'll be right back.
I always thought they were using what's pronounced Uninvine. Do you remember them, Tan?
I don't know. I don't know whether I was around at the time.
Yeah, you kind of come and gone, that's right.
I remember I was like Captain America coming out the ice and suddenly everyone's talking about Sarkics. What the hell's a Sark?
Yeah, I still don't quite have my head around. I mean, I get it. I probably should know more about it.
My family is really awful about being on the phone. When they're on the phone, they do not care what you're doing. So I'm like, hey, Dad, I'm recording. But he can't hear me say recording, so he's like, I don't care about your gaming. I don't care about your gaming. I'm like, no, I'm trying to record. He's like, I don't want to hear it. I'm calling. So I'm like, all right. So I close my doors. If you hear anything, apologies.
That's okay. See, this is why I live. This is why I live out of my parents' house.
I know. I cannot wait to get out. Yeah, usually they're very understanding and cool. But when every member of my family does this, whenever they're on their phone, they instantly don't give a shit about what anyone else is doing. They're just like, I'm on the phone, and that is the thing. So the SCP Darnell was thinking of was SCP-882, a machine by Dr. Gears. I think I know what he's talking about when I was mentioning that. What's wrong with using BCE and CE instead of BC and AD? There's actually nothing wrong. It's just a joke because...
I disagree. I think there is something wrong. I think that we should take, things that are culturally specific language out of our history textbooks, and we should just use objective measurements that aren't based in any specific faith, creed, or culture. So I think that BCE and CE before Common Era make more sense than Anno Domini, whatever, and before Christ. Yeah.
All right.
I can see
Well,
I have a strong opinion on that, and if you disagree with me, I think you're wrong. So what do you think about that?
That's fair.
We're gonna fight.
Firm stance.
I guess I disagree in terms of I don't care. I was going to explain that I don't actually care. There's literally nothing wrong. But my joke was that I happen to be I don't want to talk about religion, but I happen to be Christian, and I don't care what people believe. I'm not enforcing my beliefs. But there's like a little joke in my like group of Christian friends where it's like, people are just jealous that we dominated time. But like, no, you bring up a good point, Rosé, and I don't actually care what people use.
Okay.
And if you have a strong opinion on it, then all of the respect to you for it.
Right. Well,
but no, that's what that was. There's not actually anything I think wrong with that.
Well, I'd love to do a little faith sharing corner. I'm personally a deist, and I think that Christianity is pretty neat. I like it.
based.
Nice.
right.
A quick aside, I would like to tell a quick story that I've got about the 2 times that I've actually been to Christian church services that I get kicked out both times as a toddler, basically. The first time was in preschool. I went to a church attached to a preschool kind of deal. And we had a pastor. His name was Pastor Ray. He would tell us all kinds of wonderful stories. He had little statues of all the characters in the Bible, so it was huge. And he kept it up front, and he would pull them down, and he would act out the stories with the statues. So separately from that, when I'm not in preschool, I'm at home doing kid stuff, and one of young toddler Roger's favorite things to do is to sneak up really close behind his dad and watch him play Tomb Raider on his computer.
Nice.
So, stemming from that, when I, one day, Pastor Ray is telling us the story of the 3 wise men, and he gets to the part where they come face to face with the J-man, the big J-boy, the big rolled up fat old J, and they say, and I pop my little hand up and I say, Pastor Ray, did they shoot him with the Uzis? And I got sent home after that day.
Oh, this is so sad.
And then the other time was I had to go with my cousins to their Christian themed day camp, and they told us to draw a picture of something that God created. So I drew a giant floating castle in the sky, electrocuting lightning bolts to electrocute a villager while the others watched from a distance in horror. Saying
that's based.
Yeah, I know. I thought it was awesome, but they didn't let me come back after that.
That's messed up. Because that's actually the most based thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So next part in this comment, there isn't really any concrete lore in the SCP universe. I feel like you keep saying that to me, Spetaphore. I know that there's no canon in SCP. I've read many of them. But yes, the relation to Mechanites and Zoroastrians might only exist within 2309. No, the Ionians were a real tribe of Greeks. More you know. I think Grand Karcist Ion's name is coincidence. I'm not sure where Grand Karcist Ion first appeared. Do you know, Roger?
I could not say off the top of my head where Grand Karcist
I believe we've read the first mention already.
I think it's from the Mobile Task Force contest, because I remember it being around then, because we were writing Team Basic, and I think that there was something going on with Grand Karcist Ion at that time, or it might have been a different contest. I remember something to do with a contest, so that might be where it comes from. One of our contest creative bursts.
And the next comments are related to 2307, The Pen is Mightier, which is one of my more liked ones that we've read so far. I really like that one a lot.
Is that the one that you click the pen and it kills people?
No, it's like Excalibur was a pen that the Mechanite god used, and when you hold it, you have memories, and he cycles through the memories. Oh, it was so cool.
Yeah.
So D-Class don't have a consistent naming convention. Fair enough. I guess, the original one I came across. I imagine most people are the same. The first time they see a thing, that's the version of the thing they like. The 10-foot tall guy who ate an elf and spoke French, was that SCP-082 Fernand the Cannibal by Fritz Willy? I don't fucking know. We haven't read it.
If that is the case, I didn't know that.
Did Fritz write Fernand? I don't know if I thought that was
well, I do remember the name Fritz Willy came up when we were doing Cassie stuff. Tan said Fritz is one of the people who ported a lot of them. He's
also one of the original writers. He's also the administrator, which I discovered that. That was original research.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Tan failed to tell us that, Tan.
I believe Fritz Willy had a double identity as the administrator, like Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah, I broke that story with my interview with him.
Nice.
Doing SCP journalism.
I know, it was really good.
Respect. Next is, if I compare 2307 to what you said about 2309, you enjoyed 2307 because of its references to Arthurian legend, which you were familiar with. Weren't reliance on references what you didn't like about 2309, since it relied on you knowing about the Church of the Broken God and Sarcasm? What did 2307 have that 2309 lacked? Was it just how it was written, or was there something else? So I think there's a couple of things. So for one, what 2307 references is something in the real world that anyone can interact with.
Part of the common cultural heritage and language.
Yeah, it's common cultural, at least in the Western world. I mean, to be fair, I don't know where you're from. If you're from Asia or the Middle East, I can understand that not being familiar. Florida. But in Europe and in Europe and North America, that would be a very largely familiar pop cultural thing. The other thing I would say that's different is 2309. A lot of it is very more specific writing. where it like talks in more technical terms about the two, so you really have to bone up on your knowledge of them for it to make sense, or read all the footnotes that kind of break the things that you can imagine yourself. Whereas 2307, even if you don't get the references to Arthurian legend, still tells a story that you can appreciate without knowing what the hell Arthurian legend is. And I think that's what makes the difference for me. Whereas 2309, and I didn't say I didn't like it, I was just saying that was an issue I had with it. Whereas 2309, if you haven't read The Church of the Broken God and Sarcasm, it uses a lot of terminology, even though it explains a lot of it, that's just not really going to click. Whereas I think 2307 is a story that you can appreciate standalone, even if you didn't know anything about Arthurian legend. Would you agree with me on that, Tan?
I would, though, yeah.
Yeah. But I want to clarify, first and foremost, because you said I didn't like it. I didn't say I didn't like it. Or if I did, I must have misspoke. I gave it a lower rating than, I guess, my usual ones, and I mentioned that was a thing I didn't like about it, but I didn't hate that one. I thought it was fine. But it was particularly because Tan had already walked me through those two lores. If that was, like, the first SCP someone would ever... I mentioned the Tan in that one. If that was... That's not an SCP that you could, like, just show someone on its own for the first time. That's something you have to have a little bit of SCP knowledge to read and appreciate. And I actually have theories about that with a lot of entertainment. Like, for example, I have an anime theory where if you don't show someone an anime that they specifically will like as their first one, they will think anime is bad as a whole. So that's why, like, anytime I try to get a friend into anime, I try to pick one that I really think they'll like. I think it's kind of the same thing with SCP. If you try to show your friend an SCP that isn't their style, they're not going to give the wiki a chance. You have to start with something they think is interesting.
What was your first SCP?
So my very first SCP ever, before I met Tan, I think was shown to me by Uranium Empire when we were on a roleplay. It was called Dragon Snails. I liked it, but I still didn't read a lot of SCPs, but that's what made me appreciate what SCP is. And then I became friends with Tan, and I didn't realize Tan was a big deal on the wiki. He was just my friend from another roleplay.
A mysterious wanderer from another Discord server.
Yeah, and he would like talk about it, but I was like, I don't really... I know what SCP is, but I didn't get that he was this big deal that everyone cared so much about. And he would often, other than Dragon Snails, before this podcast, all I would read is occasionally he would be like, I wrote an SCP, write it. And as Tan's friend who likes his writing style, I would read them. But, like, not every single one, because he made so fucking many, but I would read most of them that he sent me. And, like, give comments. But other than that, before this podcast, I had, like, no experience with SCP. But I think if instead of Dragon Snails, someone had shown me, like, one of the magic item ones, I don't think I would have been as into SCP. Just personal opinion. And I think that goes for a lot of entertainment. If you want to get someone into it, start with something you think they will like, and then they'll be able to, on their own time, sift through what they do and don't like. But if you show them something they think is boring, they're not going to give it a chance. It's all about first impressions.
Yeah.
Sorry, I went on a mini tangent.
No, it's good. I like that. That was some good personal advice I think a lot of people could get from my first was the critical tomatoes.
Ooh, what's critical tomatoes?
It's tomatoes that if you make a bad joke, they throw themselves at you with speed and velocity proportional to how bad the joke was.
I like that, not only because it's like a funny gag SCP in a way, but it also implies that there's an objective meter to comedy.
I know, it's definitely
that, like, is anomalously
the tomatoes
measured.
have their own taste.
Oh, okay. Never mind, but that's still that's really cool.
And then the second one I read was The Old Man.
Old Man? Is that the old man that, like, travels around and destroys everything?
The very same.
Oh, we did that one on the podcast. I like that one.
Yeah, so it kind of mood whiplash there, but that's how it got me hooked.
Nice. Alright, so SCP-2399, a malfunctioning destroyer by DJ Cactus. I guess I have no comment for this SCP reading.
Okay.
That surprises me. And then finally, comment reading. Shoot, my comments have typos. I'm going to need to reread them more thoroughly. Whatever strikes your fancy. So we are now past the Hunter Spataphora arc, and we can move on to the rest of the comments.
Hunter Spataphora, appreciate your effort and your passion, and keep doing it. You're doing a great job, and I love you.
Absolutely. You've got one of the biggest writers on the site supporting you. Go for it, Hunter.
So 100% Hunter.
Lost Network says, opening looks really cool. It does. Boris WW says, I really like the sword SCP. One of the best things about it. So context, Boris WW is one of our longtime fans, and we, like, personally love him, and we've had him as a guest. So to honor him, I tried my best to imitate his voice when I read his comments. It's not, like, meant to be offensive. I'm trying my darndest. One of the best things about it is that it shows the events of those legends through the eyes of a normal modern-day D-class and his sensibilities. I also hope you one day read the SCP that linked me to this, SCP-4918. Tan, put that on the docket because Boris recommended it.
I will, of course.
And yes, I agree. I think that's also fun because, yeah, you're seeing these legends, but it is communicated from his personality, which I do think adds a lot of flavor to it. Comedy Man Kelp says, it would be cool to see you guys cover SCP-1233, The Lunatic, at some point. I really like that one. I'd also like to recommend 3790, The Department of Abnormalities, for once you hit Series 4.
We will definitely hit that one.
So, yeah, I was going to say we're almost certainly going to hit, because Tan has mentioned at length to Cactus how much he loves it. And Tan, I haven't watched it because I don't want to spoil it in case we read it, because I had the foresight. But I believe Tan made a video on his own for the Department of Abnormalities that you should check out. Yeah. Search the channel for it. I don't know what the Lunatic is. I normally hate to go back in time for SCPs, but for you, Comedy Man Kelp, I'll leave it up to
Yeah, we
Tan.
never do that.
The Big Cheese says, yes, ASMR SCP.
No.
I'm glad you like it.
Oh. Banker Paul says, oh shit, an animated intro. Nice. Alpha Bimbleton says, Church of the Broken Vending Machine. I'm liking
Nice
that.
one.
I'm actually, there's in Arcadia, the group of interest that I recently, with Jackal related, shout out to Jackal related for being the co-creator of Arcadia. One of the things in my recent group of interest format, not so recent now, is I imply that there are broken clockwork DOS kids, so there's a Church of the Broken God section that's got like power gloves and Konami laser scopes and stuff as their add-ons and their augmentations.
I love the power glove.
It's so
So
bad.
bad.
So if all you aspiring writers out there, there's a fresh ground in the most popular subset group of interest with video
Fresh
games.
love.
Go for it.
Power Glove just reminds me of the Angry Video Game Nerd video about the Power Glove.
I've got a power glove.
Nice. Yeah, I've noticed you seem to have an appreciation for retro gaming.
Yes, I do. Quite.
That would be something I'd love to maybe talk about at some point. I love pretty much all games, retro or otherwise. I'm not probably as boned up as you on retro, so I'd have to talk more. But
Would you like me to tell you what consoles I can see from where I'm sitting in my front plant room?
as long as there are less than 10.
Yes.
Okay, go for it.
Atari 7800, Sega Saturn, Japanese Nintendo 64, NES, TurboGrafx 16.
Nice.
And also an iMac G3, but that's a computer, not a games console. And it also
I felt
doesn't
smart
work.
because I knew most of those, and then you said iMac, and I was like, I have no fucking clue what that is.
It's the big Mac that they made in the early 2000s that was all the colors.
Big.
Big.
The one that was in Blank Check, the movie.
Yeah.
About the kid who
Yeah.
got a blank check.
Exactly.
Nice. Banker Paul commented a second time saying, what? What do you mean I was like 5 episodes behind and then decided to comment this on the newest video after I caught up so that my comment could be read, even if I didn't have anything to comment, but then the new intro gave me a reason to comment, but I wanted to make this joke anyway, so I added on the bit about wanting to make the joke? That's ridiculous! How did it come up with an idea like that?
I've just been gaslit.
I can't believe you've gaslit us, Banker Paul. My throat's hurting, Tan. Can you start from Killer Gamers onward?
Yeah, sure. Killer Gamer.
Okay.
It's like a Killer Gamer says, "Ooh, editing." Log says, "Live the intro. I am living it, my friends."
Always have.
On a Stick says,
Hold on, did Chris Carlson write a comment and then reply to himself?
Yeah, yes. On a
It's
Stick
like
says,
like a Twitter thread, but it's a YouTube comment, so it's not the same at all.
Face.
On a Stick says, "No Tanhony." Yes, Tanhony. And Chris.
Oh, I didn't see.
Chris Carlson finally says, "Darnell, how dare you assume we're not things? As a high autoclicker 3.14 class of the Church of Macrolism, I'm offended. I do not identify as a person. The nerve!" Winky face.
So the no Tanhony comment was, Tanhony said, if you agree you're my thing, say yes, Tanhony. And I said, if you're going to join my side and rebel, say no, Tanhony. So that's 1 for me and 0 for you, Tan.
Yeah, but I'm a legionnaire of myself.
Are you?
Yes.
Or are you... But what is a man?
Well,
What
let's see if
pile of
Honest Stick
secrets?
comments on the next
Castlevania.
video. Let's see what happened to him.
Yeah. Oh, no, Honest Stick, let me know you're okay, please. All
Right,
right.
that's all the
My
comments.
day be so fine, and then boom, Tanhony kills my friends.
And that is, I believe, all the comments for this episode.
Yeah. Any closing remarks? Anything you want to plug, Roger, say it now, and Tanhony will also put links in the description.
Okay, so you can check out, if you're in East Florida or you're just interested in following and supporting local journalism, you can check out rjb.report, where I will be doing stories and features on St. Augustine, St. Johns County, Jacksonville, and also things I'm interested in, like the SCP Foundation and old video games. Right now, I've got interviews with Lurkd and Mortos on IKEA and SCP-2521, as well as an article about the Jacksonville Electric Agency and how they tried to sell out their customers to make a quick buck.
Ooh.
That happened to me too. Can I share a story? And you're welcome to write about this. I'm so fucking pissed. So there's this company called Denbury Resources. All right?
Yeah.
And they're an energy company in Texas, a gas company. And I invested $400 in stock. I bought a couple $1,000s of stock. A couple months ago, they announced a Class 11 action bankruptcy, which is to restructure. And by the way, before this happened, they had a 124 million market cap, okay?
Yeah.
So they come out of their bankruptcy, I find out. They're now DEN instead of Denbury, and their stocks are trading at $18 a stock with a market cap of $9 billion, and all my stocks that I invested before disappeared, and all I got was one warrant for $2.50. So, and I was like, wait, there's got to be something wrong, right? So I look it up, and everyone's like, they just stole all our money. They fucking made out like thieves. Everyone's like, they stole our money. When are we going to get our money back? They just stole our money, and now they're trading stocks really high and successful. How is this legal? I can link you a Yahoo thing of everyone talking about it. I'm so fucking furious.
I don't know anything about that, but my fiance knows how to do accounting stuff, so I will show her and see if she can explain it, because I don't know. But she knows. She's smart.
Yeah,
She's smart about that kind of stuff. She knows how to
Yeah, let me link you if you want to read more about
Darnell.
it. Yeah, justice for Darnell. I'm so fucking pissed. And the worst part is, I don't think a lot of people know how stocks work, because anytime I try to message this, they're like, that stock, sometimes they get low. No, the stock didn't get low. It's worth like 20 to 30 times what it was. I just didn't get any of the stocks I paid for. They're all gone now.
That's annoying. Oh my god, I can't imagine.
They stole all our fucking money. Oh, I'm so mad about that. But yeah, you mentioned that, and I was like, maybe you will do me justice, journalist Sama.
Yeah. I don't. That's kind of outside my scope of area, but if there's a story there, I'll tell it.
All right. Thank you. Finally, I can rest in peace. I fade into the floorboards.
Oh, and also, just wanted to give a quick shout out to retired SCP admin ANQXYR. He's Belarusian and he lives in Minsk. So I know that I don't believe in the power of prayer personally, but if that's your thing, like Darnell, you're a Christian. If you're a believer in the power of prayer,
absolutely.
Yeah. Give him a quick prayer tonight, because shit's going down in Belarus, and I want him to be okay. He's my friend, and I like him. I don't want him to get hurt.
Absolutely, will do.
Yeah.
My heart goes out to him. I'll be praying tonight.
Hashtag
and anyone else, whatever, any way you show support.
Throw a prayer to ANQX, I don't know how to pronounce the username. ANQXYR.
Absolutely.
Good dude.
All right. And then, of course, usual plugs. Go read Aetheral Space. I know it's not SCP related, so it's not our most popular series, but it's pretty good. And Tanhony is, like, he's pouring his heart out into this, and I don't want him to drop it, so everyone go give him $1 million in views at once, so he doesn't drop it.
Deal.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'm doing pretty well on Railroad. I can't help but notice that I had 15 followers yesterday and 14 today, so one of you is false. But
what did you say? 15 yesterday, 14 today?
Yeah, so someone has unfollowed me. So I will find out who. I will find out who.
I love how some of our Aetheral Spaces further on have more views than the earlier ones. People just reading out of order.
I bullied them into reading it because I keep uploading them.
Yeah. They probably thought it was a real video, and then they click and they're like, oh, no, Aetheral Space.
He got me.
Again.
I'll title them something else from now on.
Yeah, I noticed you posted the Aetheral Space before the gaming video again.
That was an accident.
Shady.
That was an accident.
Sure it was.
It was. Well, that is it. Let's stop talking about Aetheral Space, because that has its own video series.
Yes. All right. Thank you once again, Rose. It was really fun to have you.
Yeah,
you
was
were
great.
I would love to have you again. All right. Bye.
Yeah, bye. One last thing. If you leave a review on Aetheral Space, we'll read some SCPs next episode.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.